Okay, hey guys, welcome back. So, I've been a little bit busy these last couple days doing non-anime stuff. I want to explain what I've been doing and why I have been spending so much time on it. And if you know, today is October 27, and on November 1st, there's a thing called Nanowrimo, and Nanowrimo is the National Writers Month. It's a kind of like a contest where you have to write a novel about 50,000 words in a month for yourself. And the goal is once you finish your novel, you can publish your novel, you can edit your novel, you can do something, you can become an author. That's the goal of this, is to actually prompt people who have been thinking about writing to actually go and do it, and to find lots of people who also like to do this and kind of gain support and what is it called, camaraderie ship, as everyone struggles to write 50,000 words for their first novel. Now, this is not my first time doing it, but it's going to be the first time I am taking it as serious as I am. And this is because it's a goal of mine one of these days to write a full book. And I have already written 50,000 words for the July camp, but this is like the real deal. And so I am going to be working really hard to finish this book that I've been thinking about writing for the last couple of weeks. And so for the last 5 days, I've been just reading books and trying to get a good grasp of English language and how to describe scenes. Because the main problem I find with my writing is that when I want to describe something, it doesn't come out as nice as stuff I've read before. And so I would at least like to get a lot of good books that I really enjoyed and just have them as reference. Like, how did they do that? How did that person react? How do kids react in books? It's just little things that I like to be able to describe fully when I actually start writing my book. And so, in particular, the last couple of novels I've been reading are all villain protagonists. They all have main characters who are villainous. They are the bad guys. They want to kill, crush the good guys in all sorts of ways. And so I read the whole Darth Bane trilogy, and I've also read, of course, if you read my last review, Demons of Ascalon, and also what was it called, a sort of dark mage. And there's also a couple other ones I've read too. I basically, for the last 5 days, I've consumed 10 books in total, which is ridiculous considering each book is about 300 pages. I've just been munching on books one after another, trying to get as much as I can before November starts. And I've actually come up with some really good ideas for what my novel will be like. And it's going to be very interesting, is as much as I'm going to say without spoiling it. Well, I mean, I want to talk about it. So, I mean, I guess this is the time where I talk about my experience and what I think will happen after I finish this. So, you don't get any prizes for this. This is only for yourself. So for me, it's just being able to get this all down on words and then having people read it and having people enjoy it. And again, like I said, this is kind of like a dream for me. This is the dream. I really want to be a writer. I really want to be, I mean, maybe not as a full-time job, but I really want to publish some books. Because for me, I've always read books, and there's always been cases where I want stuff to happen that did not happen. And, maybe the endings could have been tweaked a little bit, could have been a little bit like that. And so for me, writing has always been like some kind of side hobby that I've done, especially when it comes to anime and stuff. I mean, when I watch anime, I think about all the stories and all the really good stories in anime, and I wonder why I can't find as many, consecutively good stories in books. And I mean, that's not to say there's no good stories in books. It's just that I like to transfer some of that goodness from anime to books and have more of them circulating, the globe. And so, yeah, I mean, that's what I've been doing lately. And I don't know what else to talk about just besides that. So, I mean, I might do some reviews on anime off and on, but it's really not going to be my focus right now unless the show is really unique and offers like some sort of perspective that I haven't thought about. Because for me, when I think about novels, I want to have as much variation in my characters as possible. I want to have enough characters that you can just say each one is important. And even if they're not really important to the story, you can at least say they are, they have a good amount of fluff to them that they can stand on their own if they had to. And yeah, yeah. So, I mean, that's it for now, but I guess talking about the process for what I'm doing for Nanowrimo, just for people who are new to this kind of thing and wondering like how other people are doing their Nanowrimo, right now I have a very slim outline. I only have 3 things that I've written down besides a background. I've done like an extensive magic background where I related all these different classes to each other, but I mean that's for a different video. Right now, for the plot anyway, I have basically outlined the beginning, the middle, and the end, and I believe that's all I'm going to need for this novel. Everything else I'm going to just have to fluff up as I go on. And the novel I want to do was, of course, a villain novel. It's going to be about a villain who isn't a villain at the beginning. They're going to start out as children, and you can get to see this kind of child grow up and slowly become evil. And it's not even in the evil sense. It's more like the way he's brought up and the way people react to him being, an evil person or supposed to be an evil person. And that's just going to be how it shapes his perspective. And I mean, it's for me, it's hard to explain because when I come up with these Nanowrimo topics, it's a lot of separate ideas that come together, and then I get a lot of, I guess, stroke of brilliance, or simply just I pretend stuff happens, and the stuff that I like the most, I stick with those events. And so far right now, I wanted it to be about magic, so I made the main character a dark wizard, a warlock basically, who does blood magic. And the reason I go to blood magic is because I want this blood magic to have some good applications. And there are some really good applications I'm thinking about with blood magic, especially when it comes to demon rituals and when it comes to, I would say, friendship. It's when you think about contracts, oh goodness, it's like a spider down there, but when you think about contracts, blood contracts, there are really connections you make with other people. And so when I was thinking about connections with other people, these can be kind of like friendships. And so to make a character be bad but at the same time have good qualities was what I was going for, and this kind of ties into those good qualities. Blood contracts will be kind of like his way of making friends and how he shares his connection with the bonds he makes with other people. And it's not something that he uses to control people, it's something he uses simply to stay, I guess, aware of them. And maybe the way I'm thinking about it without spoiling too much is that it allows him to know whether they have died or not. And this goes into, of course, all the dark themes of getting killed and all the, yeah, nastiness. And so the story I have so far that I've thought of is that he will be in a village and he'll be a kid, like about 6 years old, and he's going to be there for a couple of years, and he's going to start to learn to make magic. And he starts making magic by something called, he just starts making magic using dolls. His family's going to be some family that makes dolls, and he makes dolls, and he can make these dolls come to life by using blood. And his blood is what he uses to make them come to life. And it's going to be somewhat harmless in the beginning, but at some point he's going to get kidnapped by a dark wizard. And a dark wizard who's simply going to use him to further his own gains of pursuit of whatever he wants to do, evil basically. He's going to use him to further his studies of dark magic, and it's not going to be just him. It's going to be a whole bunch of kids. So this guy is going to basically go around, kidnap kids from every village and who have talent in magic, and then slowly teach them how to use dark magic. And he's going to use these kids to basically perform experiments on stuff he's trying to do. Like maybe he's trying to turn something into something else. He uses one of the kids, kills them off. He also uses the kids as protection. He teaches them so that they will protect him in case someone tries to kill him, because kids are a good shield against knights and good wizards who obviously don't want to hurt innocent people. So he's going to use these kids as shields. And so he's going to teach these kids how to use dark magic, and he's going to put them in situations where they inevitably turn evil, where they get warped and all their thoughts turn more dark and dark as the series goes on. And so it starts from when the kid is at the village, goes to this horrific state, being under the control of a dark wizard, and then ends when he gets freed. And when he gets freed, and when all his other dark wizard, all the other children get freed with him that are still alive anyway. Some of them are going to die. Most of them are probably going to die. But anyway, he ends up with only a few of them left, and then they go their separate ways and hopefully try to survive, knowing they have learned and everything they grew up with, because they'll be with this guy for at least a couple of years. Of their pretty much their whole childhood will be with this horrific guy who does black dark magic, and they'll be hunted down by white wizards, by other knights, priests, clerics. Anyone who fears dark magic will hunt them down. And dark magic in this world is very rare because it tends to destroy the user. And so not only will the kids be hunted down, they're also rare magic users in their field. Pretty much there's only going to be about, oh goodness, bugs, okay. There's only going to be about, I would say, 20 dark mages who specialize in dark magic in the world. And so you can see how these kids are going to be some sort of driving force for change, especially when they start going off and trying to survive. And so, yeah, and future-wise, I would also like to see, I would also try to, show how each one of these kids, after leaving that camp and leaving this group, how they survive. I want to show them how they survive with their own special way of dark magic, and how they come to terms with other characters in this novel. And so right now I've been working mostly on the magic system. I've basically split the magic system into all the different types of people who use magic. Like I have wizards, bards, druids, shamans, sorcerers, witches, warlocks, and I am exploring basically all the ways they will interact with each other. And then I've also have different kingdoms, and I have different classes for the melee classes: rogues, wizards, warriors, swordsmen, knights, so and so and so. And so you'll see basically the importance of, I like, I would say, what is it called, RPGs. And so I would also like to show kind of like an RPG sense in this world, along with this all the other magic systems. And so you get to see why there's lots more of warriors and all the other guys versus mages, and you get to see like all the other differences between the characters. And of course, there are also going to be heroes and dark prophecies and all the good stuff that I like seeing in novels. And so, yeah, that's my novel so far. It took me about 5 days to pick this up, and it took me 5 days because I was reading during these 5 days, and I was trying to come up with ways to create conflict and create a dark character, because I feel dark characters, they all start off good. It's just, how do you make them turn evil? And usually this goes to how they are raised. And so I feel for any novel that portrays a villain, you have to go back to the roots of where they started from as a kid. And that's why I'm going to start my novel when all of these wizards and dark wizards are all children, and show the readers, my readers, whoever reads the book, if I ever get it out, how they get affected and by how they're raised. And I'm also going to probably show, in comparison, the good wizards and how they are raised. And when the main character gets to meet these good wizards, you get to kind of see the differences between them. And so that's something that I am really enjoying. I'm really looking forward to writing this book and being able to get it out. A lot of good ideas are coming in my head, and yeah, so that's what I've been really focusing on right now. And I'm going to be working extensively on the magic system and how that works. There's a lot of different magic I want explored, and I'm going to stick it all under something I like to call, I like to go back to the origins of magic. And so a lot of the old ideas of how magic works, like if you're ever familiar with the principle of similarity, it's the principle where things that are similar affect each other, if that makes sense. So like, you know, voodoo dolls, since one of them is since the doll is shaped like a human, it can affect the human that it's shaped like, that because they're similar. So that's the principle of similarity. And there's also another principle I was looking into too, when I was looking for the origins of magic, how people thought magic worked back in the day, medieval days. I was looking back into that, and I was finding some really interesting things of how people thought magic worked. And I hope to add some of that also in this book, and expand on that in a more complicated way. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. This is going to be what I'm working on. You'll see a couple reviews from me every now and then, but I am going to be dedicating my life to this book at least for the next couple of weeks. So I hope to see you guys soon. See you guys sometime, maybe writing this whatever book you got for Nanowrimo too. Alright, see you guys next time.